everybody. I'm sitting in a parking lot waiting for someone, so I thought that I would do a little Q&A, except not really a Q&A, but more of like a topics chat. Since I'm going on a trip this weekend, I thought that I would do a little bit of like a what are you listening to topic. These aren't necessarily things that I will be listening to on my trip, but just things that I've been listening to lately that you can listen to, like when you're traveling or driving or walking or whatever that might be. So these days I listen to a lot more worship stuff, like Bethel and Aaron Keyes. He's one of my favorites. Chris McClarney, I believe is how you say his last name. The Oldies But Goodies, Brooke Fraser, Hillsong, those kinds of things. And they've been coming out with a lot of new stuff and really awesome stuff. And today I even discovered a few new things from Chris Tomlin. I'm always really interested. I lead worship, so I'm always interested in like hearing what the new worship stuff is. And podcast is something I usually listen to on a walk. Of course, I listened to Serial a while back, and they had a new kind of series from This American Life called S-Town, so I listened to that recently, and it was really good, really well produced, well made. My bestie and I, the one I'm going on my trip with, we love the podcast from Alec Baldwin. He interviews different people, just celebrities and musicians and authors, and even the guy who produced S-Town, which is the podcast I just talked about. He just recently interviewed him, and I love him. Alec Baldwin he has such a great voice for podcasting, but also he just asks the best questions, and he has this very old-fashioned sort of air about him, and it just makes you want to keep listening. I don't know how to explain that other than to just go listen to it and you'll understand. And then another podcast I would definitely recommend, Mark Maron's podcast. It's called WTF, and of course all three of these podcasts, they're definitely for adults, and they have some explicit content, so be aware. But Mark Maron also, he interviews a lot of celebrities and different people, and some of my favorite episodes have come from his podcast. I'm not always interested in the guests that he has, but I usually love the podcast. He recently did one with Maria Bamford. I love her. He's done some with Louis C.K., which have been probably the best podcasts I've ever listened to. And so just some really interesting, and I think too, like, even though sometimes things can be explicit, I think there are things that they can sort of teach us and we can learn from them. And that's something that I really appreciate from podcasts, because that's the purpose of them, is to learn something more in the process, not just be entertained, but to really receive knowledge in the end. So I really love that. So that's mostly what I've been listening to these days. In my car, I also have some CDs that I've made recently with a few mixes on them. One of them is Madison Cunningham, which I love her. She's so good. She has a very old school voice. And she's a very good instrumentalist, and she's just really good, and I love her. She's also on YouTube, so you can check her out there. And then I have like a mix CD with some Ed Sheeran on it, and some other interesting wedding songs that I've been listening to. I'll also pop those up here for you. And then also the La La Land soundtrack. So just some interesting things, kind of eclectic and different, but I just really have enjoyed them a lot, so I thought I would share them with you and recommend them to you. If you don't really do podcasts that much, I really would suggest it, at least trying something out. There's so many different kinds of podcasts that there really is one out there for everyone. I know somebody who does like a podcast about cover songs. I know someone who does like a daily podcast. It's just like fun and nerdy and geeky, and it's hilarious, and I love it. I know someone who does like a movie review podcast. There's just so many different ones, and they're so neat, so I definitely recommend them. So check them out, maybe the ones I suggested, or go look for some of your own and suggest them to me. Leave a comment below and let me know maybe some of the podcasts you're listening to these days. Today is laundry day. Oh, I hate laundry day, but it has to be done. So today we're just cleaning around the house and getting things done. And it's really thrilling, but why don't you come along with me? Like, do you ever have those days where you just need to go through all your crap and throw it out, or get rid of it, or give it away, or put it away, or finally get to that project you've been meaning to get to? Well, that's what I need to do. Well, that literally took me all day, but I finally did it. We are at what is now the last remaining Christian bookstore in town, and it's also where I used to work, my old stomping grounds, you could say. I'm here to look for a little book that's like one of my favorites. It's called My Heart, Christ's Home, but I also want to look for something that is uplifting and encouraging, but also not preachy. So we're gonna look for just something, a good book. So I'm excited to go in here. I haven't been here in a little while, so come with me. Well, it probably wasn't a very good idea to go in there because I just want to get all of the things. Especially when I used to work there, because I would just spend time like looking through the books and the music and like seeing what it's like and whether or not I like that, and I just want to sit there and like read through everything like I used to. But I got some cool things. This is why I actually went in there. I really wanted one of these. This is like one of my favorite booklets. I love this, just this little tiny story. It's a tiny little book, little pamphlet, and I love it. I recommend if you ever want to read something that would explain what Christians believe, what Christians really believe, this is a good start. I got the new Carrie Joby CD because she's amazing and I'm going to listen to it like right now. Oh, I wish I could open this better. Open it up. Open it. Let's go. I got it open. I will show you my other trick though. You see this little seal on the top here? I'll show you how to do it easily. Lift from the bottom of the CD and open it like this. So you lift from the bottom corner, you lift that little thing up, you open it and you pull that seal right off. It comes off beautifully. Whew, all in one. That's my little trick for you. And then you can easily just pop it back on. No problem. Yes. And as you saw, I got A Grief Observed by C.S. Lewis. This is the gift I think I want to give, but I think I'm going to read it first before I give it, because I just want to make sure. I've read most of this before, I think, but it was a long time ago, and I just want to make sure that it's what I want to give. I'm always weary of giving gifts, like for someone that's grieving, to give a gift that's like blatantly about grief, because I feel like it's the last thing they kind of want to think about. But this book though is amazing no matter what. It's not preachy, it's real and it's raw, and I think this is what I want to give, but I'm gonna read through it just to be sure. It's short too, it's real thin little book. Then, oh, I'm glad I bought these, but like, this is like a big purchase. I probably shouldn't have spent this much, but her name is Karma Naylor, and she is so cool. This is her right there. Ooh, right there. And this is a book about her experience in the Mormon church and what she kind of went through and what happened with her family. And there's actually 2 volumes, which is why it was kind of like a big purchase, because there's 2 volumes. Second one's even bigger volume than the first and more expensive. Sheesh. But I know this family personally. They're not really close to me, but I do know them. I knew them, especially when I was younger, and I'm looking forward to even just reading the first couple pages. I was like, yep, I want to read this. So I'm not a fast reader, but I really hope that I take the time to read this, because it's really awesome. Look at this quote right here. A quote by Chuck Smith, of all people. So it's A Mormon's Unexpected Journey by Karma Naylor. Read this because this is someone's personal experience with their life, someone who grew up in the Mormon church and held it in their heart dearly, and just their experience with it and the things that they want people to know about their life and the things that happened to them and their family. And I really encourage you guys to read this. So I'm excited to read it, and if you want to borrow this when I'm done, you're more than welcome to. So that's all. I love going in there. I try not to go in there too often, because that's what happens. I spend too much money, but I do love going in there because it's my old work and it's just comforting place to be for me. That's what I got, and I was glad that I went in there, and I hope that you enjoyed my little haul as well. Bye. Pinch myself. Ow.
see how you like as we unbox this stuff. Too. Thank you, DJ, for sending us these Stop coughing.
Poor Brandon,
The
go.
vlog's sick.
It's not official. That's not your real name, Sean. Get it, Charles Reagan. Cursive. Yeah. Uh-oh. What is that, a putting green? Lens flare.
It's the battery pretty heavily because
He just
it's got to work against the wind or whatever.
Best
Day ever. Wow, that was
Cute,
so
we're
cool.
Cute. That's so happy.